And we're back. So this starts officially J&J After Dark. So
The real raw Jays.
the real raw. That sounds like a porno thing. The real raw Jays.
I only
So
got that from Final Space when he's like, "You got the real raw Gary."
so fun fact for everyone
You.
that is still bopping around. I never hit record
Oh yeah,
on
I did notice. I just the way I was watching the time was watching it on here. I was like,
yeah,
oh, damn, we've gone too long. But I was like, does he know that? Because I'm like, I
but
know you can see us streaming.
so the stream time is started, remember, before we went live.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I kept that in mind as well.
Yeah,
Um, but
I was like, it's a little bit off.
but man, I was so
It's because
pissed.
of the technical difficulties.
I mean,
Fucking A.
we could still we're still gonna make
Yeah, we.
the podcast after this. I'll send it to our audio guy, just the files off of Twitch or whatever. But I was so mad when I noticed that, and I noticed it right after we got into the first topic, and I was like, "Fuck, I
Yeah, I
can't."
was trying. You know what I did too? I was like, let me see if he texted me because I'm like, I know he's aware of it, but I was like,
Because I was like, we were literally in the middle of talking about which thing. Let me see if I could jog my memory. Yeah, we were talking about the Flash already, and I looked over and I was like, God damn it! Because if it was just the intro, I would have redone the intro.
oh
But
yeah,
we had already spoken and like made thoughts,
we
and I
put a
was
lot
like,
of love
damn
into
it.
that plate. That made
But
sense.
we'll be okay. The thing should still come out in time without any
Yeah.
problems.
And you guys, you guys like watching us anyway. If you missed us, we're on YouTube now. We're back. We're back on YouTube. Like I think we're officially back. I
We
would
are
say.
officially back. Robot, roll back the rock to the dawn of time, and sing the song with me. That's from the titular John Goodman movie, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. Go check it out. It's a great movie. I loved it as a kid.
We can like it.
About
Uh,
it's about a bunch of dinosaurs that come to present day '90s New York City and sing and dance and get into trouble. And it's a cartoon. I think it's a John Bluth. Bloom? Bluth? Bluth.
what are you saying?
The animator. Um, so I actually came with a topic today.
Go ahead.
So
Dude, shits.
so I really like we've spoken about this before, but I saw some, I guess, pictures from a upcoming book that Disney is putting out, and it's the, for lack of a better word, it's the bookification of the new Little Mermaid movie. And so it's like a
Mm,
picture book, right? And it
yeah.
shows the Haley Bailey
Yes.
as the Little Mermaid, and it actually shows the new version of Flounder and Sebastian. Not thrilled by their designs, but I get it. They have to look real. Um, Now, it had me thinking, and we've discussed this before. When
Whoops. I'm sorry about that.
when does it
I'm trying to
matter?
get our thing over there. Sorry about that.
When does it
I'm trying to
matter?
get. All right. All right. I'm trying to
Love
like
it.
find a thing, but go ahead. When does it matter?
Love the technical difficulties. But when does it matter, or does it ever matter about switching the race of characters? So I know that we've talked about this before, and
Oh yeah.
we're both in the camp of like Little Mermaid. Why are people getting upset? They're racist. Like it shouldn't. And there are actual racist people like throwing hate, and it's very visceral towards Haley Bailey and Disney, and it's not okay in any sense of the word. It's not okay.
Yeah.
But there are times where people are like, "Oh, why can't this stay the way it was? Like, why do you have to change it?" Um, we've even
Oh
said
yeah.
we've even said like, "Hey, just make a different superhero and make it that." But
Yeah.
now the conversation that comes to my mind, and I know we've had this before, is Donald Glover, Childish Gambino.
Hmm.
Back in the day, actually, during like the second season of Community, so around 2010, not 2009 or 10, around there. he was in talks. There was like this big rumor that he was gonna play the next Spider-Man. There was a big like fan push for him to be the next Spider-Man. People wanted
Yeah.
him to be Peter Parker.
This was before Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, this was before Andrew Garfield. So they wanted him to play Peter Parker. And to me, I was like, damn, you know what? At that time, I think he would have been a great Miles Morales. Not the young kid version, but
But Miles Morales wasn't even created yet. Remember, he was he inspired Miles Morales.
that's right. That's right. He
Yeah,
wasn't.
Miles Morales wasn't even a thought.
But like sticking still with the topic, right? You know, people were like, "Oh, he should be Peter Parker." Now, we had never up until this point, we didn't have Miles Morales yet and all that. But why do we find ourselves like, "Oh, he should be Peter Parker, it would be great." But then when we see something like Michael B. Jordan being Superman, we're like, "Why don't they just make another character that Michael B. Jordan can be? Like, why does he have to be Superman?"
When you say Superman, do you mean Clark Kent or the other? There's Val Zod, who is
No,
the black.
Clark Kent. Clark Kent.
You mean Clark Kent? Okay, gotcha.
Because those are conversations that we've had, and I agree with both of those points. I would have loved to see him as I would have loved to see Childish Gambino as Peter Parker. I think he would have done great. And I don't want to see Michael B. Jordan as Clark Kent.
I'll say this. At the time, it would have been dope to see Donald Glover play Peter Parker, but the sentiment will still say the same. Peter Parker was just always a white guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Donald Glover would have definitely he should have got an Oscar for that if he did that role. Now, I still feel the same way if Michael B. Jordan played Clark Kent. He wasn't going to play Clark Kent, but let's say for the sake of saying it, if he was going to play Clark Kent, it'd be cool to see. I'm sure he would knock it out the park, but the fact of, to show kids got to see themselves on screen, like, I get that, but you can do it without pandering. I think we've spoken about this, but in short time. Now we have the After Dark. Now, when it comes to Little Mermaid, the source material, there's no skin color, there's no race involved.
Yeah.
The thing is just meant to say clear skin. They never said she was white. They never said she was black. They never said she was anything.
Yeah, but it's like a Scandinavian folktale. We could assume that she was white.
But then
other depictions, it's been white.
You're not wrong, but the thing is, mermaids are fiction at this point, and they live underwater.
I mean, so is Superman. He doesn't live underwater, but he's fiction.
No, but what I'm saying is there is already a source material for that. Like, there is on paper. You see that when these stories were out, there's no, like, if there was like let's say Little Mermaid came out when comic books were created, there was like the depiction, she was red hair, white woman, blue eyes, and then I'm not gonna say I would support the fact that people should hate on it, but I'm just like, people shouldn't hate on the fact that
hate is never good. I'm just saying,
no.
like,
No. When I say hate, I use it loosely, but people shouldn't be in an uproar because Halle Bailey is playing Little Mermaid. I would be more upset that Michael B. Jordan is being Superman, specifically Clark Kent, when that already there is other characters. Or if they decided to say, like, let's focus on the Val Zod or I forget the other Black Superman's name. If they did focus on that, then I would have been like, okay, fine, because that character does exist. Let's explore that character and his blackness. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to Halle Bailey, go ahead.
Technically, we do have source material for Little Mermaid if we want to look at the Disney one, which is, this
exactly.
new one.
That's where a lot of people get their source material. Like, there is more source material besides that. And first of all, that's specifically Disney. So I was going to get to that. A lot of people are going to look at that.
Okay.
So again, we're not going to solve this tonight or anything like that.
Oh, no, we're solving it tonight.
Oh, we are? Okay, so here's mine. So, like I said, I have no problem with Halle, I was going to say Halle Berry. Yep. Halle Bailey as Little Mermaid. I do have a problem with giving white characters black actors, specifically if they're superheroes that is already ingrained in there. Now, give me Miles Morales is already part of the zeitgeist. Give me a Miles Morales movie. Don't say that. Don't give me now. We're talking about 2023. Don't give me like, hey, we're gonna give you a black Peter Parker. I was like, but we have a Miles Morales. So that you can see my problem there.
So there, I can see that. I can see the.
But if we're gonna go back to 2010,
yeah,
again, young me and maybe looking back, I'd be like, this is dope. It would not have bothered me because my learned lessons and experience and my thinking is different now. It's hard to say what I would have thought back then. Again, I initially would be like, oh, this is dope. But I would not have thought how I'd feel now. Now, if you told me without a Miles Morales that Donald Glover is going to be Spider-Man, I'd been like, why not give me something else? Why not give me Spider-Man 2099, who is a person of color?
Yeah.
Or
he's Mexican, I believe.
He's like Mexican and Irish or something like that.
Something
they try to
like that, yeah.
But isn't there another Spider-Man of color as well, or is that the only one? Ben Riley is not he's a clone. He's not like a mixed clone.
Yeah, Ben Riley's a white guy. I mean, there are, but like, you know, if we want to go literally across the Spider-Verse,
yeah, right. We would have to actually go into the Spider-Verse.
There's a Hindi Spider-Man. You know, there's a bunch.
So like, I have no
Silk
problem.
is Asian.
Yeah. Like, I have no problem with trying to think of something that's not superhero-esque. Like,
so I guess the main question that I think I've kind of narrowed it down now. Like, when does it become pandering? Because that's the issue, right?
It's easy. That's easy. It's pandering when it's part of the climate. So when it was after George Floyd, but it was like there was a string of things that were happening.
Yeah.
It was like the George Floyd event, I would call it. Then there was something LGBTQ related, and I remember amongst all that there was there was a gay Captain America, and it wasn't Steve Rogers. It was just a guy dressed in this tank top, well, not tank top, overalls. Like, he was flamboyant looking. He had a trash can, had like a makeshift helmet, and it was like, okay, our first LGBTQ Captain America. I was like, that's pandering, especially for if it falls in the climate, it's not done genuinely.
Okay.
Again, pandering is just, again, to meet an agenda. If pandering to me is if you're giving a character of color a mantle. So, for example, Lucius Fox's son. Again, I use this always as being Batman. I remember seeing headlines, Batman's black now. I was like, no. Like, my first thought is Batman is a white guy. There's always going to be this agenda where the main characters return to their roles. Superman losing his power was a dope thing to see. We've never really seen that before. But what happens? He returns to form. He gets his powers back. Batman dies. We had Jim Gordon fill in the shoes for a certain point, and that, you know, he comes back to life and he becomes Batman again. So when you got someone just filling in the role or the mantle, they always return to form. Now, I have not read those issues. I remember reading or seeing a TikTok video where they're like, yo, it's crazy how Bruce Wayne, when he goes out and plays Batman, he always has his cowl out, like his mouth out of the cowl. It would be, why doesn't he just cover it? But it's just like, someone made it is a joke, but it's real talk though. He leaves it out, so when the cops see him, he's a white guy. So if it was a black guy, he would have just been shot. And I'm like, that I'm not saying that's real, but then that brings to the conversation is like, what if that was the case? Do they explore that in that comic? I haven't read it, but that's just me, like, ignorant. Like, I would go read it just to see if they explore that. Or
I would like to see what they say about that, but knowing the origin of Batman, I know that was not a thing that was even
considered. Yeah, that's definitely not a thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, going forward, that'd be something to explore with the black character.
And on top of that, Batman does cover his mouth a lot. Like typically what we see and what we know is the cowl Batman, but in many, many runs, Batman has a multitude of different costumes and he does cover his face depending on, what storyline we're looking at.
Yeah, it depends
But
on what storyline and what he's
when he
doing.
goes
And
into space, his mouth is covered. When he has the astronaut suit,
yes. Or
some
when he
versions,
holds up in the animated series and he has the Batman Beyond suit. It's
yup,
just he's all black there.
yup. Some versions of the snow gear he'll have a mask on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He got that from Uniqlo.
Yeah.
No lie though, it does look like Uniqlo's
Yes.
outfit though.
It does.
Um
So I just wanted to bring this up almost as like a devil's advocate because I know we've had discussions and I think
yeah. But what would you I would shoot that back to you. Like what do you think? Do you disagree or find some sort of line that you would like, can you be on one side or the other?
I agree with you with like your the definition of pandering, right, to fit an agenda or to fit the social climate of the what is the time. And then I look at examples like Miss Marvel when she was reintroduced and she is a Muslim woman and of Pakistani descent, right? That was done in a time where like
That, and you know what it is? That kind of worked in the sense that because
nobody was like, I feel
I
like
don't think anyone, personally, I don't think no one bat an eye. Did you? Or
nah,
would you
no.
say that?
It was just like, okay,
Did you
cool.
see that? Okay.
I saw it and I was like, all right, that's cool. But they made a character for her, for the sake of it being that character. It wasn't like because I don't know something was happening and Muslims were being. I mean, they are a marginalized community, but at that point, it wasn't like something was specifically
there was no
happening.
Happening.
Yes,
Yeah.
to ignite.
And it worked out because Captain Marvel is a character, is a guy initially.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, for those listening, Captain Marvel is not Brie Larson. Almost said Allison Brie. Brie is not Brie Larson. Captain Marvel was an alien dude. And Miss Marvel was Brie Larson's character at a point in time. And she wore that suit with it's that one-piece suit with the sash. That was Miss Marvel. Then she took up the mantle of Captain Marvel, and I don't know how the comics went, but did she verbally give the mantle to to the new Miss Marvel?
So Captain,
because I know she is a Inhuman, and I don't know
so,
how.
So originally Captain Marvel, that was the thing. It was Captain Marvel. They fought with DC. Marvel and DC fought over it with naming rights. Marvel won out, and they were able to keep Captain Marvel. It was a guy, and then it became a woman, and she kept the moniker of Captain Marvel. Then Miss Marvel joined the scene, and it was literally, her origin story in the comic books is very similar to what we saw in the show. She is just a huge fan of Captain Marvel, and she makes her costume as like an homage. And it ends up being where they end up meeting together. Miss Marvel is a thing. The original concept, I believe, for Miss Marvel before the relaunch, before she was a Pakistani woman, Miss Marvel was the sidekick to Captain Marvel. So after that story kind of was like done away with, and they launched this character Miss Marvel. She became Pakistani. She was Muslim. It was also during a time where they were filling the hole of Fantastic Four. So they gave her some abilities. They gave her some abilities that would mimic Reed Richards, but it was done in a way where I think it was handled good. This character that was given life as this person, as this type of person, and it wasn't like, oh, Black Lives Matter movement is at a peak, let's make a black character. It wasn't that.
Yeah, I would say that with Miles too. Like I didn't feel that because I genuinely was reading Miles from the its origins, and mind you, it was part of the Ultimate Universe before it was part of the main continuity. Peter Parker died. if they were setting him up to die, I don't. I'm sure that was genuine. And when Brian Michael Bendis was writing this character, mind you, he was influenced by Donald Glover. Again, that's not pandering to me. So that worked out normally. That was all genuine. Like Miles Morales came to fruition. That worked. But
so
then,
in terms of being like on one side or another, I'm typically, obviously, I don't want pandering. Pandering is not good because don't give me something that's a flavor of the month just because. I find that very hollow. But I will say that I believe that some characters can be done justice by different actors if it's like done in earnest. Again, passion over pandering. Like if somebody auditioned for, let's say, the next Man of Steel, right? It's not going to be Scott Snyder's. They're just doing another Superman movie. Let's say Clark Kent ends up being black. Like if that actor embodies Clark Kent and is able to do it, that down home Kansas boy who's like, has good manners and is like an all-American guy. I don't see why that couldn't be a black guy.
So I wouldn't be. So for example, here, okay, I got two things to say. One, the rebooted Fantastic Four, where Human Torch, Johnny Storm was black. Yeah. That didn't bother me. Again, they didn't even address it in the film because Sue Storm was white and they didn't really say it. They just said, "That's my son." So they were just like, "Fuck what you guys, stop asking the question. He's my son. That's my daughter." Boom. I love how clear cut that was. Then again, there was a little bias because I love Johnny Storm. He's one of my favorite superheroes, or one of the Marvel heroes. And then I liked Michael B. Jordan, and then he happens to be black. Also, the movie was just trash, so I just don't care.
I never saw it, so
don't waste your time. But second thing I was gonna say, so in the comics, and I'm kind of going through superhero stuff. I'm not even like outside of the superhero world. But when I look at like Flash, specifically Wally West, for the New 52, he was a black guy. He was a black kid.
Yep.
And even in the Flash show, it was a black kid. I was like, oh, so like this is it. Like this is how they revamp Wally West. Like Wally West was always my favorite character in the animated one, animated show. Didn't care for this version of Wally West because I was just like, he didn't have that fun kid thing. He was just someone that was trying to look up to or be like Barry. I guess that's why I didn't relate to that.
Wait, which version?
Which Wally West?
Yeah. Which one are you talking about?
The black version with the yellow costume, the yellow and red costume.
No, I'm saying like because you said that you liked Wally West in.
Oh, and the animated the classic Justice League cartoon, the 90s.
Oh, you're saying you liked that Wally West.
I liked him because he was the young
revamped. Okay.
Because he was the young fun one.
Yeah.
But in the Flash TV show, like the CW, and in the comics, it was just looked like he was trying to fill in some shoes.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for that because I'm like, I didn't relate to filling in shoes. But then when they did the rebirth, they brought the original Wally West back in the comics. So I was just like, so what was the point where all these characters didn't matter? Like Iris West she was black in the New 52. So did that take away who these people are? Like, I don't know. Like the publishing companies could do whatever they want, but I just feel like, why do that? Just to promote a story, or I don't know. They do weird stuff when it comes to universe ending, world ending stuff. And they just said, oh, Wally West has been running this whole time. And then just like, but Wally West is right here. Why do that? You know what I mean? So to me, that is disrespectful. So then you can just renege on characters.
Yeah.
But then again, that is the problem with big companies. They can do whatever they want. Now, when you look at, you just mentioned it before. If if a black actor, so if a black actor embodies Clark Kent, Superman, I'd be only all for it if it completely changes. Like Superman is not white anymore. Like stick to your guns. Like he is a black through and through. He came from Krypton as a black person. Like give me that whole storyline. There are going to be racists out there that are going to hate it. And look, don't say he should be white. If you're a racist, you're a racist. Just own it. Be a racist. There's nothing. Well, there's a lot of things wrong with being racist, but don't try to sugarcoat and hide behind like, oh,
Wrong
no,
with it.
there's nothing wrong with racism. No, no.
No one clip that out, please.
Like, don't be like, oh, he should be white. Blah, blah. No, no, you're a racist.
Mm-hmm.
If DC publishing company is like, he's black now. Everything before is like, if you do another reboot,
Mm-hmm.
do not renege on the character.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Before it gets into the film, because the films is usually what is a mirror of what the comics are. It's not like that anymore because comics are just advertising for movies nowadays.
Yeah.
But I think as a company, in all mediums, they have to agree that Superman is now black.
So if they find a black actor, like, and he's the next Henry Cavill, but
yeah,
you know,
I think they would have to work. They would have to work backwards. They would have to
and make him black throughout.
Yeah, like reboot the comics and just be like, okay, he is a black person now.
So
I won't have a problem. Like, yeah, he came in 1939. Like Superman was white dude, but like if we're trying to be progressive, change it through and through. Like that is the work.
So now, do we? If that was the case, so is now in everything that he does, animated movies, anything that Superman pops up in, he's black. And so now that brings me to the next question. In his origin story, does he still come in 1939 or does it start fresh from like now?
No, well, no, it wouldn't come from 1939. It would be like the whatever modern day, depending on when this, let's say hypothetically this happens 20 years from now, it would happen within that realm of that modern society. In our modern society. I would treat it as like anything pre-black before he becomes black. Anything pre-black.
Anything would be before black.
Yo, that's hilarious. Anything before that, I would treat it as like Star Wars Legends. Like,
okay,
it's source material you can pull from. You can redo stories and then make them more human. Like now you could even, if you wanted to, Martha and Pa Kent could still be white. There's so much rich story you can do with that. Like,
and he's just black because that's
because again they're adopting him. They still can't have kids. Now, if they decided to make Ma and Pa Kent black, then by all means. But I think there's more rich story if they were white, because then you can just do more with that.
I mean, if we're doing that, we might as well have Ma and Pa Kent be black, Superman be white, and him land in Kansas in the 30s. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's have a white man save segregated black people. I'm down. Let's rewrite civil rights.
Just rewrite the whole thing, and we got a powerhouse now. We just got a powerhouse. You can't stop us. Kryptonite ain't a thing. But no, real talk. Like that's the thing. I mean, like if you're gonna do this woke thing, do the work. Go back, cut everything off, and start. Like those New 52 stuff was dope, but then they kind of soft rebooted anything again by doing a rebirth. So everything still continues. Everything still happened, but like. So, for example, everything that happened before New 52, that Superman version came back into New 52 version. The New 52 Superman died. So it's like you can play around with these things, and then you just revamp everything just to fit our current modern society.
So, do you think we're in a space where maybe we need these heroes to be revamped for modern times and have these companies stick to their guns? So like DC
I
doing
don't think we
Rebirth or
need
Marvel's
to.
doing Ultimate, like really just being like, you know what? All right, we're gonna reset from here, and we're gonna have these characters that everyone looks at and likes. We're gonna have them reflect what reality is, and no longer be, quote unquote, like whitewashed.
I don't think we're ready for that now. I would hope that we could, but what I would say now, what we should do is,
Mm.
and this is my beef. Um, During lockdown, there was this magnifying glass on the companies that there's not a lot of people of color, and
Yep.
then about Milestone Initiative. I don't know if you saw the documentary, but they did mention about how Milestone came out and DC basically owned it. And they were just like, nope, we're not going to show any more of these characters, and they were getting popular hits.
Mm-hmm.
So now they were like the Milestone Initiative. Let's get more people of color, like specifically writers and artists. But it's like, okay, you're doing that. Where's the work? I see Static Shock out there, but I'm like, Static Shock is cool and all. He's like the Miles Morales of DC. But there's a lot more heroes that we should be seeing. And that's what I think we need to do now is pull all these characters and put them in the limelight. We're slow. I forgot to mention it during our segment. Blue Beetle is another one. He's a Latino kid. Like that, great.
I mean, the new Ghost Rider, he's also Spanish.
Well, yes, in the comics. I was talking like we're bringing them to like the silver screen. I mean, if you're trying to show all that,
yeah.
If you wanted to, by all means, because technically, well, he's not in the silver screen, but in Agents of Shield,
there's both.
I forget that he is there. So if you were trying to call back that actor, bring him back, but like, oh, remember him? He was in Shield. He is the Ghost Rider of this time with the muscle car. Like, give me that. That's still like put them in the front. Now, to do that revamp that I was saying, it's a hypothetical, but I think it can work in a certain point in time in the future. But that's just me saying, do the work and don't half-ass it. Don't be like, Batman's black, Superman's black from a different universe. But no, give me Bruce Wayne is black, had a rich family. Like, I want to see because like you can the only rich person that I can imagine in the comics is Chala, who's another rich black person that I can think of often, and that he comes up all the time in my head.
Yeah.
I want to say someone who's akin to Iron Man when it comes to tech in DC. Steel.
Cyborg.
Well, he's already a cyborg, but he is intelligent. He is very intelligent. Cyborg, yes, Cyborg. I'm surprised I glossed over him and I had Steel, but Steel does
Steel.
No, but Steel does create. He created his own suit. That's what I mean. Like compared to,
I mean, he's Shaq in my mind.
But I feel like that would be the way. Like that's genuine to me.
Steel.
Reset.
Steel.
No. I mean, if you're gonna revamp everything. Just don't give me like this temporary. Oh, he's black for a certain time, and then oh no, he's back. It's Clark Kent, white skin, blue eyes. Like again, I'm not trying to hate on white people. It's just that's all we've seen. You know what I mean?
We're gonna revamp the Justice League right now. We're gonna do the big guys. So I say first one up. I'm gonna hit Wonder Woman, the Amazonian goddess. Guess what? Now she's from the actual Amazon jungle. We have a Brazilian Wonder Woman. Take a character.
Wait. Question. Let's slow it down. I'm agreeing with you, but I want to take it back. If we're sticking with Greek mythology, shouldn't she be from the Amazons in Africa?
I'm redoing the whole thing. I'm not saying it's. I haven't built out her whole story, but I'm not saying it's Greek. I'm not saying it's Brazilian. Not. Great. But she's Brazilian. There we go. Pick another character and revamp them right now, off the top of the dome.
Green Lantern. There's so many options.
Okay, Green Lantern. What is he gonna be? We already have a black one. We already have John Stamos.
You know what? Speaking of John Stamos, Simon Baz. I think he should be more in the forefront. We barely saw him. He was the one with the mask, and he carried a gun all the time. He was the Arabic. I think he was Arabic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was of Arabic descent.
Okay.
Simon Baz. I think he should just be put more in the forefront if we're gonna be like the
Okay, so
main.
Middle Eastern Green Lantern, that would be dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take. You know what? Give me a Jamaican Flash, bro. Give me a Jamaican
Bro,
Flash.
bro, we
Tell
already
me
had
that's
Usain
not
Bolt. We already had Usain Bolt.
like.
Why
Tell
not?
me that's
It's
not
right
fucking
there.
perfect.
It's right there.
All right, go
The
ahead.
answer was right there this whole
Take
time.
another one. Take another one, Jay. Come on. I like this game.
Okay, Cyborg is gonna have to stay black. I liked it. Um,
No, we
who's
gotta
else?
switch
Who
them
else?
up. We gotta switch them up.
You gotta switch him up.
Yep.
Okay, he's Asian.
Asian. Oh, so he's like a math whiz. Then he builds. He gets put into his calculator. All right,
Yeah,
I
why not?
like it. Um.
Um, we gotta
Oh,
look at the
okay.
top. Go.
Give me a Hungarian Zatanna. So an homage to Harry Houdini.
Okay. I would so for all intents and purposes, I don't even think I said that right. Both Batman and Superman gotta be black. Or
Both of them.
of
Okay.
any both of them gotta be black because they're powerhouses.
Hmm.
And then speaking of Wonder Woman, she gotta be dark skin. She gotta be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Hispanic dark skin.
So
Like
wait, if if Batman's black, is he still called the Dark Knight?
yep, gotta own it.
All
Gotta
right,
own it.
I dig. I dig.
And who else do we got? Oh, Martian Manhunter is clearly black, so we can't change that.
All right, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
When he changes into his human form, he's black and he speaks with a black voice. It's freaking what's his name? Keith something. That voice actor.
Okay.
Keith Davidson? Keith Davids? Who else is in the Justice League?
So
Are we going to Green Arrow?
I was okay. Go ahead. Go do Green Arrow.
Oh, Green Arrow, Hispanic.
You know what? I could see. You know what? I'll take it a step further. Give me like a Mayan Green Arrow, who's like Mayan influence, kind of like almost like
So
how
wait,
Namor was.
would you say he's like of Mexican descent or like some sort of a South American country? Like of a
I guess
descent.
Mayan is like Central American, right?
So like
Or
let's
is that
say
Aztec?
I'm just thinking like he's living in the city, rich, whatever, same thing, just of the Mayan descent, right? Um, I just see the Robin Hood aspect. He sees his people like in trouble, and he just like doing the Robin Hood thing.
I think
And
a Spanish Green Arrow works really well.
yeah, and it's not like you have failed this city, and I'm like, oh, okay, like,
Um, no, he just walks up and he's like, "Por
ooh,
qué?"
damn
And then
it,
like
yeah, I
draws.
love this. This is not Justice League, but I love this. A black Punisher from the '60s.
Oh, so like, well, I guess Black Panthers was like in the 70s, right? But a Black
Yeah,
Punisher,
but because mind you, Black Punisher was just hanging out in the streets,
yeah,
killing gangs and all this. So gang violence. Look at
that's
that. Look
just
at that rich. That's story
that's Black
101 right there.
Dynamite. That's Black Dynamite.
Bam,
Black
bam, bam.
Punisher in the 60s is Black Dynamite.
Yeah. Okay, so you were gonna say Aquaman.
Aquaman, yeah. What was I gonna? So I actually really enjoy
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa and like that Samoan influence on
It
Aquaman.
makes sense. It
It
makes
makes
sense.
a lot of sense. So I think I would want that to be canon. Like I want him to be a Polynesian person. Like I think that's like primo.
Yeah.
If not Polynesian, I would like it to be. Oh my goodness, and I think it would be really cool. And I cannot remember for the life of me. Is it Inuit?
That's pronounced.
So the indigenous that are actually in like Alaska, I believe.
Hmm.
The indigenous people that were in Alaska, I know it's not politically correct anymore, but they used to be called Eskimos. I think that would actually be a really cool thing for Aquaman because we could see him interacting with a different kind of ocean,
Okay.
one that's very Arctic based. Um, who else did we get? Everyone? Oh, we
There,
missed
there's a large team, but if we're just looking at quick stuff,
Shazam.
um, definitely easily could be a black kid from the streets, poor.
I would probably make him a Greek guy. I think I would really like to lean heavy. Like that's the Greek mythology character in my mind. I think that would be really cool. He's always eating olives and stuff.
Who said this? Where'd you read that? Well,
Always,
I'm going off. So I'm going off like where the original characters are coming from.
mm-hmm.
Like the city that raised them. So if you're in an urban place, a downtown
So
area,
you're saying like
so like I can
realistically their environment.
realistically, I would be like it could be a black kid, a
Yeah.
black poor kid, homeless.
I mean,
Um,
this Billy Bastion is typically like a whatchamacallit, an orphan and stuff. So it's
yeah. If we were swapping them out, um, trying to think, super Supergirl would be black because they're cousins. So, um, oh, there's so many. I'm going through like Young Justice roster as well. Like I'm just
I mean, I think we hit all the main Justice League guys, right?
yeah. We're looking at the main one. Yeah.
Let's switch
Um,
over. Let's switch over to Avengers. How would we revamp them? Black Panther, obviously white. Like,
you got to flip it, but then where would he go? Where would Wakanda be?
okay, so
Why not? Let's leave
South
him
Africa,
alone.
South
Let's
Africa.
let's leave Wakanda alone for now. Let's not anger the internet. But if we were gonna swap it, then he would have to be white. But we're gonna leave that alone. He stays black. But I'll say
No,
this.
you know what? This is how we revamp him. He's actually a Black Panther. Like that's like from the '60s, and they lean in heavy, so it's almost like a
So he is a Black Panther,
yes,
I
like
just
part
wrote a
of the
story
Black
real
Panther
quick.
militia.
He grows up living in racist society, grows up to be part of the Black Panthers, finds out he's actually from Wakanda and has to, there's a story right there.
But then it's like he's already set in his Black Panther ways, so he's
Oh
still
yeah,
like
it's almost like Killmonger, but he has to be.
yes.
He is supposed to be part of. He's part of the Black Panther line. What was I gonna say? Iron Man is Japanese.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's good. I would watch the crap out of that.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
Japanese Iron Man. Oof. Woo. That's great.
Captain America has to be Hispanic as well. From that, if I'm thinking from that time coming in,
Australian Thor. And like his whole mythos is no longer the Norse gods. It's like the Aborigine. It's Aborigine, right? It's their
he
mythology.
wouldn't be called Thor. He'd be called whatever their rain storm god is. But I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Koala,
Kangaroo. Come here, my kangaroo.
god of boomerangs.
And then it comes back to him, just like Mjolnir. Either
called
Captain America is Hispanic or Chinese. That's two different things, but I can see that.
I can see either. I can see the Chinese angle, especially if we want to talk about like military and
not
military background and stuff. I could see a Chinese Captain America.
All right, Black Widow. What is she? South American, Brazilian, Portuguese. That's basically
still
white.
technically white. Yeah,
That's still white. Yeah.
Black Widow.
Ooh, got it. Native American.
Good. Oh, damn, Jay. Hitting it good. That's good. A Native American Black Widow. Fuck yes. And it's like Black Widow was given to her as almost like her, I guess, her tribal name.
Oh, you could that would be a good angle. That would be a good angle. You know what? Just to put
That's
in
so
there as well,
good. That is
Hawkeye as
so
well. Hawkeye as well.
hell
If we're
yeah.
just going off the Avengers movie, like just think of
Hell
that
yeah.
line.
Have them be from like separate tribes and they end up like meeting each other and being good friends and going out together. Like, oh, that's so good, Jay. Native American. That was such a perfect choice.
Nick Fury, I forget what this group is, but one of the monks, I forget where they're from, like those monks
Okay,
from
you
like
got to give
the
me
Far
some.
East. I don't know what that
The
country
orange
is.
with the orange robes.
Yeah, what
That's
country is
Buddhist.
that?
Those are Buddhist monks.
What country is that? I know they
I
can come
mean,
from.
technically, it's either gonna be China or Thailand.
You
Depends
know what?
on what you're talking about.
I'm gonna just say a Far Eastern Nick Fury with an eye patch, and he's bald.
Okay,
Spider Man technically
so
is
China. So it'd be China. It'd be a
a Chinese Nick Fury.
Chinese Nick Fury.
What would you get Spider Man? So we already have a black or Spider. We got to do something other than those two.
I think an Indian Spider-Man would be really good. They do have one in the Spider-Verse. There's one, and it's actually going to be in the movie.
And it works out too when it comes to like emigrating from a different country. That you could even work that angle. So coming from India and just like yeah, that can work. I like it. I like that one. That's a good one because there's a lot you can go with that, especially if you ever watched or hear Hassan Minaj's story of him growing up. I can see that being a Peter Parker.
And on top of that, like I think a lot of Indian culture has like when it comes to their physicality, there's a lot of agility and mobility in their bodies, whether it be for
So
like
he'd be when he's already like has high agility. So when he gets bitten by the spider, he has extra
yeah,
mobility.
like it's
So
like like we can see him like whereas Spider-Man is always like, you know, he could jump and like do these things and more recently it's been a lot of parkour. I could see him almost like parkour but in a street like almost like Aladdin sense of it where like using a lot of the environment like and slipping in and out of certain things. Like I can see that being a thing for him.
gotcha. He's not part of Avengers, but Doctor Doom is an American white guy. He's already
Instead
white,
of
but specifically a
Liberian
United States American white
capitalist.
guy.
Well, I mean, they did that with the original Fantastic Four movies with Jessica Alba in that. He's a white business dude.
Yeah. Okay, going back to Avengers. Did we miss anyone? Hulk? Hulk, what is he?
Oh, Hulk. Do we make him an angry black guy? Do we do that? Or
That no, you know what? You can do that though. There's so much story with that.
or I also think that we can make
Make him a
Hulk
woman.
not She Hulk, but we can make Hulk a monk. I think Hulk would be bless you. I think Hulk could be a really good monk because we could see him as
But you're changing the whole character's personality as well. Like you're doing
this
that.
is something like maybe at starting off he's so frustrated with the monk society that he, you know, when he meditates, he that's when he controls his anger and he becomes the Hulk. And his that's the only time
That
he's
would lean
allowed
into like Mark
to
Ruffalo's I'm
yes.
always angry kind of a thing. That
So
would
but
even
like
work. Yeah, go ahead.
but it would be like the reverse of that. So like
Mhm.
he's always calm and then there's certain periods where he can release all the anger in this one thing and that's when he would become the Hulk.
I think that would work too if he's a black guy. Because the things that they have to go through, like for example, like
Yep.
getting stopped by a cop, they always have to stay chill and not react. So that
That
would
would
be a
be
good
crazy to like not bad, but that would be
yeah.
like a really I guess interesting way to frame that. Like what if you literally could not control that anger and whatever burning things you have inside of you and like you get pulled over by the cops. Like it would be a very interesting thing to see. Like I can already see it now. Like they hassle a black guy and then he's like come on, man, like please don't do this. Like this is wrong, and they keep bothering him, and then he's like
And they pulled
slowly
the wrong bad
growing.
guy.
Yeah, he slowly grows into the Hulk, and then they start shooting off, and nothing happens. Like I could totally see that being a thing.
Yeah, that can work well. We went through. If we're looking at the movie Avengers 1, we kind of went through everyone.
Yeah. Ooh, Scarlet Witch.
I was jokingly going to say Canadian, but I'm like, that's not going to work. Um,
That'd be so funny if she's like
like
the universe's strongest thing, but incredibly like has that Canadian politeness.
yeah. Instead of saying no more mutants, she's like more mutants. More mutants, eh?
Sorry, mutants.
I would say African descent.
I
So
don't know,
not
Jay. I
black.
feel like you're being a little biased here. You've made a lot of
I'm
black
being,
characters.
I have to because it's like I'm thinking of where the abilities are stemming from and where the like what's the word I'm looking for? Not history.
Because I mean, their environment, like you had originally said, they're Eastern European. Her and Quicksilver.
Eastern European.
Yeah. Because if you think about it,
We could easily go. We can go Asian with that too, if you wanted to. Just go far Asian. We look at Korea.
Korea, or I was gonna say Vietnamese. Maybe they are products of nuclear bombs going off. Well, I guess not.
So what would that?
Napalm or Agent Orange? I guess.
What would that make Magneto? Because we can also do mix.
Oh, let's just fuck it up, dude. Let's make Magneto Viet Cong. Let's say he was one of the rebels in the Vietnam War, and then his children, being affected by all the chemicals that were sprayed in Vietnam, come out being Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
So they're not mutates or mutants.
I mean, they
were created by chemicals.
Created by chemicals, I guess. Yeah. If we want to have it a little more grounded, and then Rogue could be like a visiting white woman that's like trying to help.
Ooh. Wolverine could definitely be Native American.
Oh, for sure. That's super easy.
A Native American from Canada. Would he be nice, or he was still? Well, he is. Wolverine's already an asshole. He's already an asshole, so it's.
Yeah, he could be Native American very easily, but I think I would want to see him Russian. I feel like he would
a white, basically a Russian.
I think he would. I think like imagine Wolverine, but a part of like Soviet Union, Cold War. Let's say he spent time in the Gulag, like
it'd be akin to Superman Russian story.
Yeah,
Red Sun. Yep. It'd be like that.
And like if he spent time in the Gulag and like during the Cold War, that's when they start experimenting on people and they start making, they use him and that's their Weapon X, and it's like weapon backwards R or whatever the fuck Russian is.
I'm just looking behind you, so Deadpool will be Australian. Because with his accent, it'd be funny. Everything he says would be funny.
Yeah. But like super thick. And like Thor, whatever Australian Thor is called, would have to deal with him all the time.
Yes. So for some odd reason,
what's Luke Cage?
Oh, Luke Cage. And if we're looking at environment, honestly, he could be any, but we have to see if we're looking at Harlem.
I guess Spanish, right? Specifically, like
Dominican. It could easily. Yeah, I was gonna say either Dominican or Puerto Rican. Definitely, bro.
Oh, and give me. So if he's Dominican, give me a Puerto Rican Iron Fist. Give me.
Okay. That you know what the rich story behind that would be great, because look, I know.
Because then imagine that tattoo could be a Taino tattoo on his chest instead.
That's true, but look, there's always that there's always this beef that Dominicans Puerto Ricans have that shouldn't be a beef,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say, in my opinion, it has simmered down with our generation. But
Yeah,
it
I
would
think
be
so.
dope to play on those within that story because they would always they're bosom buddies, but they always hate and they were talking in Spanish and just talking shit. That would be great. That would be great. I love it. That
We
works.
have to write all these down, and we have to write stories for these things because I
Yeah, we
think
just gotta write, and it doesn't have to be full on stories. We just write
no,
like
just
little like beat outlines, and it's like
yep.
this is what like this is happening. What
Because
is
I think
happening?
some of these are actually pretty clever. The
Well, you know what it is?
Native
So
American Black Widow is like I think that could be a fucking graphic
that
novel easily.
facts. So what we're doing is basically like what I like, and I still need to read. So this is what will get me back into DC. I was talking to my friend about it. He hasn't heard of it. So, and I think I told you about it. DC has this run where it's a retelling of the DC characters in the medieval times.
Yeah.
So, like, Superman is from Krypton, whatever. No, not from Krypton. Is from a planet, I believe it's Krypton, but are part of a rich family that is on Earth, and like the Batman is a knight in their army, in the L army. Some storyline, I don't know how I came across this, but they're actually brothers. Like Batman and Superman are actually brothers. Like it's really dope. So it's just a medieval time. So it's not like anything that we've ever seen before. That's something I would love to read because that's something different. It has nothing to do with race. So that's just like, oh, this is something fresh and new. So what we're doing is something like that. We can just tell that one story. They did that before with, which was horrible. And I remember, I believe I brought it up when this guy, he's like half Mexican, half Jewish, and he wrote the uh, Var- uh, Miles Morales. If Miles Morales was Thor, did you read that? What if?
Oh.
It don't. I read it just to. I thought I read it just so I can
Oh,
talk about it.
I saw the
Did you see like the dialogue and everything?
yeah, it was
It
fucking
was bad,
terrible.
super
And you
cringe,
know what's
and people.
funny? I literally just saw that like this week because somebody was talking about black representation with superheroes and other characters in general, and they
Yes.
were like there's no wrong way to do it. And then the next panel is like actually there is. And then it
And you know
showed
what it
him.
is?
That shit was real rough.
So that comes twofold. Representation works if it's in the machine. If we don't have a lot of people of color writing these specific characters or women white, look, a man can write a woman can write about a man, but
Yep.
we have to get feedback on that. I can't say, oh, this woman is always gonna fall in love with this, and then they're like, no, no one falls. No person relates that can relate to something like that. No one's
Yep.
always falling in love. You can write it to be that way, no matter what it is, but you have to be able to formulate that correctly. So, speaking of the Miles Morales character, that the what if Thor, he wasn't even a black writer. And what bothered me is that this went through revisions and then editors saw this. And
They
I
were
can tell
like,
you,
yes.
no one of color saw would have let that pass. So
It was wild. I remember I read it and
I
it was
actually
like
I went online, got the scans and read it, and I was like, that it made me like mad. I was upset.
it was
And then
very
I went to
cringy.
like it's not something where I would write hate mail. I'm just upset that they let it pass and they were like, "Oh, you're a comic writer. Go write this."
And like I remember he was like and Brooklyn was or Asgard was
Yeah, like his hood or some shit
his
like that.
hood, and I was like, "Oh my
And it's like,
god."
look, you can write a black character and not say those things. Brian Michael Bendis, white guy, wrote Miles Morales. There was nothing in cringe hell that came on those pages. So there's nothing. Speaking of representation, put the people of color in there.
Yeah.
Um,
5 realms, Asgard is his hood.
And then that was just him listening to hip hop and rap music and was
The
like, "Oh, we need to put
Bifrost
this
line
together."
goes north, south, east, and west.
So yeah.
Dude,
And my thing is, if you're gonna write something that's not in your realm, ask for feedback.
Odin's son, he's the son of God and kings, got so many wins, check out all those rings.
And my thing is Thor in general, like Thor, like normal Thor. He doesn't rhyme all the time in general because I know there's this thing where he has like he speaks in certain rhymes,
Yeah, like
but
his
not all the
rhetoric.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not all the time.
He's formerly known as a prince for sure. His subjects and friends, they just call him Thor. Because of the artist formerly known as Prince, that whole thing. Dude,
Yeah, yeah.
that's so fucking weird.
It's a
And
bad
it's
one.
so funny that you brought it up because I literally saw this like yesterday and it was or not yesterday, this week and it was rough. And you know
And
what?
that's another thing too. What I like
I don't
about
even
Marvel,
understand how the fuck this thing happened because even the cover is like low key like a little like weird. Like the cover has him like with the hammer and everything. He has the high top sneakers. He has wings cut up in his hair like as like a thing. And
yeah,
then
like the haircut, yeah.
yeah, then
That was like one of the first things I noticed.
he has a full arm sleeve tattoo and then the Mjolnir
All graffitied up.
is yeah, tagged up. It's graffiti. That's so weird.
Not gonna lie, if I had Mjolnir, I'd probably do the same. But
But like it feels very forced.
it's very forced.
Ugh, he grab like Mjolnir comes back to him and he says hammer time.
Yeah, that was a bad thing. Another thing I didn't like too was his hair
By
was it was
Odin's
frosted.
fade,
Yes, yes. Are
I
you just read
command
it?
you, shield this lost son of Freya from your might. Oh my god, by Odin's fade. Who says that?
And that's the thing. No one speaks like that.
Dude, that's so weird. Dude, him literally talking to one of the ravens. Yeah, well, Hugin, I don't like to brag, but that mission was straight fire. And he's looking at like a fiery like visage.
Yeah, it was too on the nose. Like
I cannot. I
I
absolutely
know we
cannot.
say that, but it doesn't work because the entire book is like that. You're just using a lot of vernacular, or rather
It's
jargon.
yeah, it's like you said, like he just heard stuff and he's repeating it.
He's listening to music, watching BET, and just like, oh, I'm gonna just write all these things down.
Yeah, it's very tone deaf.
That's the word, yes. But to kind of take this back and rein it in, I have no problem with Halle Bailey as
Absolutely not. Yeah.
no, there's none whatsoever. Because again, the source material to me doesn't dictate that. As long as and this is specifically Disney. And again, I could only understand, but then don't care because it shouldn't matter.
Yep.
The source material of Disney was a white character, but then it's like you're just racist at this point. That's it. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's what it comes down.
Yeah, and I think we've solved pandering. Um, so I'm happy to wrap it up here as well. And yeah, man, just no hate. If you don't like something, just
Just
it's
admit
a,
you're racist. That's it.
yeah.
Don't
It's a,
hide behind it.
it's okay to not like things, but don't not like things because of race. That's sucky. Like give things a chance, let things surprise you. Listen, I'm not always a big fan of recasting and redoing things, but give things a chance and don't hate things because people are a different color. That's so stupid. Um, but with that, I think we can wrap it up. Unless you have anything else to say, Jay.
No, that's it. Just don't be racist.
Don't be racist. You heard it here first. Don't be racist.
We're first, right? After millennia of times from
So,
other human beings.
as always, I am Jay, Justin Ruiz.
I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois.
Good night, guys.